Welcome back to the Barry Charles Footy Show. And in this episode, we're going to talk about two teams, the greatest team of all time, and we're going to narrow it down from 16 teams down to 8, down to 4, and down to 2, and who is the ultimate team ever in terms of the best team of your club in the NRL. And then at the end of the series, I will put out my best team ever. Obviously, these are all going to be highly debatable, and leave all your comments below of who you think should be in. But I mean, this is my perspective, and a lot of it is history as well. I haven't seen some of these players, but I had to go through the whole series. So let's get to it. And the first one off is going to be the Manly Seagulls with the big rivalry against Newcastle Knights. So first off, let's have a look at the fullbacks for both of these teams here. You got one side, you got Brett Stewart, and the other side, you got Robbie O'Davis. These are the two best players in there ever for these clubs. You could argue with Brett Stewart, with Matthew Ridge, and a few other very good players ever to play at this club, but I had to put a team out there. So, and Graham Eadie, there's some very good players in the squad, but you can't have them all. Robbie O'Davis, very good running player back in the day, but I give the points here to Brett Stewart. Fullback, the wings, this was a bit of a tough one here, but I thought both of them were too strong here. My two wingers for Manly are Ken Irvine, well, he's the try scoring record, he had to be in there just for that. And Michael O'Connor, very good player in his own right. Knocking off Darren Albert, obviously getting the try, they won them the grand final, has to be put in the team, but overall not as good. And Tamana Tahu, very good player as well, one of my favourite players, but I had to go on career records, and that's the way it went there. In the centres, obviously Manly had Steve Matai and Bob Fulton, with Matt Gidley and Adam McDougall on the other side. Now there's going to be a lot of queries about who you should have picked and who not, but on what I had for what I thought here, I thought Bob Fulton and Matt Gidley were the best two out of those things. So I'm trying to compare players to class. Matt Gidley's flick pass, it's just out of this world. And Bob Fulton, all the stories I hear about this player, he had to be the halves pairing. Interesting. The Johns brothers, Matthew Johns might have carried a lot from Andrew Johns, but to be fair, when they played together, was just outstanding. And Cliffy Lyons, the legend, and Daly Cherry Evans. Well, in the 5'8" position, Cliff Lyons hands down beats Matthew Johns, and just no doubt about it. And he's still playing footy now, Cliffy Lyons, that's how good he is. And Andrew Johns, no comparison to Cherry Evans. Andrew Johns is a world-class act, and probably underestimated his talents, and he could even been even greater. Andrew Johns could have been, and he had a few injuries at the end of this year that cost them maybe a premiership or two. Then we're going into the props here. You got Jason King and Mark Carroll for Manly versus Paul Harrigan and Tony Butterfield of the Knights. Well, what a matchup then heaven that would be. But obviously that competition there was tough, but I had to go with Mark Carroll and Paul Harrigan. Just they're outstanding, both of those two players. There was a equal balance there between these teams in that position. When we went to the second row, wow. Manly, Steve Menzies, Noel Keel, and Glenn Stewart, very good. And so is the Knights, to be honest. Steve Simpson, Ben Kennedy, and Bill Peden was a very good, grutty type, tough player. Very good player. But overall, I gave this back row lock positions to Manly, because Steve Menzies just followed Cliff Lyons everywhere, and he was just a legend in all parts of the game. Ben Kennedy, I had to put him in. Ben Kennedy just had to be in. He was good for both teams, but obviously he had to be in the Knights team. It didn't have to be, but he played very good footy for the Knights, so he had to be put in that team. And Glenn Stewart, obviously Bill Peden, that was a tough one, but he could have gone either way with that one, to be honest. But this is where Manly just blow the Knights apart. Absolutely blow them apart, and it's on the bench. Now, people are going to differ on these selections, but this is the way I went here. I just find Jamie Lyon is just too good. Yeah, I mean, this was probably a more contentious one, but I think Jamie Lyon plays a bit more positions than Kurt Gidley. Yes, Kurt Gidley was good at fullback and 5'8" and hooker, but Jamie Lyon, really, he was one of the innovators, and really he played so many different positions. It was just, no matter where he played brilliant in each position. Absolutely. He was like nearly a star player in any position he played. Kurt Gidley, yes, he was a good cover, but to me, Jamie Lyon was just a little bit better, but I mean, controversial. But Ian Roberts, he's one of the best props around. He was unlucky probably not to make the starting team. But Marcus Sargent's a good player, don't get me wrong. Very good player for the Knights. Anthony Watmoe and Josh Perry, pretty similar. I favour Anthony Watmoe. There's probably just a bias, but they were both very good players. And again, Malcolm Riley, from what I heard, was a very good player. And I loved Adam Muir as a player, and he played for the Bears at one point. So I really respected him, but I've gone for Malcolm Riley. So the Manly Seagulls overall squad seems to just overpower the Knights. But let's have a look at the unlucky players. Now, for Manly, some people would say Graham Eadie should have been the fullback. Some people would say Matthew Ridge should have been the fullback. Phil Blake was always a consistent player. Craig Innes, did he deserve a spot in front of Steve Maddai? Some people would say that, old school. Some people say Kieran Foran over a longer period of time was more consistent for Manly, but he probably not long enough to take Cliff Lyons' place. Max Krilich was a good player. Des Hasler. And even in the halfback position was a tough one, because Matt Orford was a very good player in a dominant time too, and maybe he should have got the nod at number 7. That's another debatable one for you Manly fans out there. Let me comment below and let me know what you think about that one. And obviously, some people would say that the Knights should have won this battle, but I have seen Manly won this battle. Who was unlucky for the Knights? Jared Mullen, but there was more potential than anything else. Mark Hughes, he was unlucky. Akula Uate could have easily been in the squad. We could have probably dropped Anna McDougall out, moved Tamam Tahu to the centre and put Uate in, but it was just personal preference for me there. Bo Scott, even though he probably did more at the Dragons than he did at thing, he was unlucky, but didn't play there long enough for me to put him in. And Neil Piccinelli, he's a very good player, and probably deserved to be in the squad too, but you just can't pick them all. Yes, so this one was, to me, fairly clear cut. That Manly were the better squad overall. Definitely the backline was just absolutely supreme. But the forward pack, they were pretty evenly balanced. So yes, even they had Andrew Johns, but would that have won them the game against the Cliff Lyons and the Bob Fultons and the try machines of Ken Irvine, the big hits of Steve Matai? Very good. This would have been a great game of footy, don't get me wrong. Darren Albert's a good player, Matt Gidley. I mean, they're good players, but I just think Manly, especially the bench with Ian Roberts coming off the bench, I just had to go for Manly. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be back with plenty more videos shortly as we debate who are the top teams. I had to switch them all around and try and get who I thought were the better teams and the more weaker teams, and put them together to drop it down to 8, and then we'll drop it down to 4 until we find the winner. So there's going to be plenty of videos coming up debating the greatest teams of all time for your club. So come check it out here at Barry Charles.